Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great week. I'm Kelly Fore Dixon, owner and creator of Estate Management Systems. And this week on my desk, I was working with a client in Ojai, and he was sharing with me the emergency preparedness wildfire procedures that he was organizing with his principal, with his staff, with his neighborhood. And I wanted to share some of those details, mostly because he was an expert in doing this type of preparation. But many of us, and I was in that category of managing a Malibu beachfront property that was never considered high risk fire for wildfires. It just wasn't just in the history of that property wasn't an issue until the Worsley fires in 2018. So many of you estate managers are now managing properties that this is new, new information, a new layer of emergency preparedness that we need to prepare for. So I want to give you 10 tips to get you started with this type of emergency preparedness, specifically for wildfire evacuations and your emergency preparedness list. So the number one thing that you need to focus on is getting the local fire inspector to come and do a walkthrough of your property and your house so that he or she can give you a list of all the things that need to be done to prevent or minimize that particular property's risk. Now, does that mean cutting off limbs of trees that overhang roof lines? Yes. Make sure you've got a Knox box so that emergency first responders can get into your property. And make sure that you do all of the recommended changes by their report. Number two, create a family plan. This means sit down with your employer and get them to focus on these critical issues. Create procedures on getting out of the house and where to go. They'll need to pick an in-town and an out-of-town location as a meeting place in case the family gets separated. Maybe somebody's at work, the kids are at school. How will everyone get together if communication is a challenge and if you have to evacuate the area? You're going to want to create an emergency contact list of phone numbers of family members, of the neighbors, hospitals, doctors, insurance agents, and maybe bankers. And you'll want to add an emergency animal rescue plan. So if you have horses, if you have dogs and cats, they'll need their own checklist of grab and go items to get them out safely, and a location to take them, especially horses or larger animals, where they can be let out of trailers and out of harm's way. Number three, create a staff plan so that you know that every single person on your team is CPR certified and knows how to use an AED piece of equipment. You need to get them on a schedule to check the supply list on a frequent basis. So you're pulling expired items and you're replenishing them and keeping the items fresh: water, canned foods, etc. You'll want to start scheduling drills, and we call them 911 drills, where every month you put someone else in charge of running this drill. They call or text 911 drill emergency, and everyone goes into their procedural actions of somebody's grabbing this and the supplies and all the things. Write those procedures out. schedule them monthly or seasonally, and rotate the responsibilities of running those evacuation procedures so that everyone knows what it feels like to be in charge of this type of event. You'll also want to sit down with your staff and review your procedures and discuss your plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, and all the different scenarios, so that if you've got a new staff member in particular, they're brought into the loop and made feel comfortable with all that might be expected of them. Number 4, you'll want to get together with your neighbors and create a neighborhood plan. Now, this may seem not as critical, but I can tell you that if you have to evacuate and you're not home, your neighbor, wouldn't it be nice if your neighbor picked up your cat or your dog or got, your prized artwork out of the house for you? Wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to get into a security gate and let the animals out of their house, or share pumps out of someone's swimming pool? Those types of collaboration are going to be key in the event of a big firestorm event. You'll want to exchange contact information, gate code information, and to establish a plan that includes everyone's unique property needs. Number 5, you're going to want to get some paper maps. I know, right? This is floor plans of your home that include the fire extinguisher locations and smoke detectors. You're going to have a site plan of your property with utility meters and shutoff instructions, hoses and hose bibs, pumps, and additional water sources. So if you have a swimming pool, a cistern, a well, or rain barrels, you're going to want to be able to put those on a map so everyone's kind of aware of how to find those and how to tap into those. You're going to want a neighborhood map with fire hydrants, neighbors' houses, and their names and contact information on that. Notes about pets or elderly people that might need assistance, and any valuable shared fire equipment that is on their site. And then you're going to want regional maps with evacuation routes, emergency facilities, shelters, supply stores, fuel, ATMs, and meeting places in town and out of town. Number 6, organize your grab and go item list. Now, this can be anything from prescription medication to cash, fuel, food, water, snacks. Don't forget the best bottle of wine in the house. Grab that as well. Cooking and eating utensils, pet supplies, leashes, food, and prescription medication, toiletries and clothing, paper products like paper towels, toilet paper, feminine products, trash bags, Ziplocs, cooking supplies and dishware, important papers like checks, credit cards, bank accounts, pictures of your driver's license, and make sure you grab a proof of residency like a utility invoice or something with your name and address on it, so you have proof of being able to get back into the area after evacuation. You want to make a list of your tech equipment with your phone chargers. Maybe you've got a solar charger, satellite phones, two-way radios, and just a radio, a band radio. Any sort of tools, flashlights, knives, blankets, first aid kits, and masks. And then safe contents. You might want to grab that if you don't have a fireproof safe. Number 7, inventory your equipment and schedule service. So create a fire equipment list and schedule regular testing and maintenance, maybe twice a year, maybe seasonally, maybe 4 times a year. Obtain proper moving equipment. So if you're on a really large property and you need to evacuate horses or a large piece of artwork or something, make sure that it is available, ready to be packed and relocated. And have extra keys for your vehicles, for your gates, for your storage units available in a handy and intuitive location. Number 8, you're going to want to print all of this information out and put it in a 3-ring binder. I suggest putting a couple of copies inside of the house where it's known to everyone where those notebooks are, and in each one of your vehicles at the property. So if you're in the car and you're away from the property when an emergency happens, you still have access to all of the contact information, all of the evacuation maps, etc. And then laminate the utility shut-off instructions and locate those in places where you need them, like the water meter hole or the gas meter, or inside of the electrical panel. Number 9, go online with your emergency plan. Now, I talked to my client the other day about this. They had all the printed information, they had all the procedures, but what was throwing them off was a disconnect when someone would change their gate code, or someone had a new email address, or somebody had a new piece of fire equipment. Go online and create a free account with Trello or Asana or whatever your project management software of choice is, and share this board of information with your neighbors, with as many neighbors as you can possibly get together. So each one of those homeowners has their own list of information, the contact information, anything that they may need help with, like such as an elderly resident, any gate codes that might change or might allow a neighbor to access their property more easily. Make sure that they have access to this, they know how to use it, and they know how to keep their information updated. And maybe share email alerts to say, hey, it's time to look at your Trello board and update your property information. Number 10, schedule drills with your employers and their children or anyone on the property. Determine the frequency of drills, whether it's monthly or seasonal. Give everybody the same printed procedures and checklists. Rotate the responsibility of everyone having a turn at being in charge of this drill and leading a team of who's doing what and where are we meeting and what's next. So have those printed procedures, make it super streamlined and clear for them what's to be done next, but let everyone take turns being in charge of making sure those procedures are followed. And then have them practice using the equipment, pumps, extinguishers, and the AED unit so that everybody feels comfortable being able to save a life and to use the safety equipment. So practice those fire drills and CPR training and throw in the Heimlich maneuver while you're actually getting together and focusing on these types of procedures. And make sure everybody's aware of the exact location of your notebooks, your keys, your maps, your codes, etc. So those are your 10 items. I hope they help you sleep better at night. If you need any help putting this emergency plan together, please contact me and I'll be happy to help. Thanks for your time this week. I hope it's a good one.